Your mind is lying to you right now. It is whispering that you are not enough, that disaster is imminent, and that you should be terrified of the unknown. You wake up every single day with a heaviness in your chest, listening to this internal narrator as if it were the absolute truth. You have spent years serving this invisible tyrant, believing its every prediction, but it is nothing more than a broken mechanism. It is a biological glitch designed for a primitive world that no longer exists. You are trapped in a loop of anxiety and hesitation, paralyzed by shadows that have no substance. But today, we stop the cycle. We are going to unplug the machine and separate your true self from the noise. This is the moment you stop being a prisoner in your own skull. Your brain is not an optimization engine for happiness. It is a survival engine built for a world of constant physical danger. For your ancestors, a sudden noise in the bushes wasn't just a noise. It was a predator that wanted to kill them. This hypervigilance was the only reason they survived long enough to pass their genes to you. But you are not living in a cave anymore. You are living in a world of digital notifications and social pressures, yet your biological hardware hasn't received the update. It treats a missed deadline or a rude comment with the same biochemical intensity as a tiger staring you down in the tall grass. Because of this outdated programming, your system is constantly flooded with cortisol and adrenaline for threats that cannot physically hurt you. You feel the rush of blood to your limbs, the pounding heart, the tightening chest, all preparing you to fight or run, but there is nowhere to run to. You are sitting in a safe, temperature-controlled room, yet your body is reacting as if you are in a war zone. This is a faulty alarm system that rings at full volume when there is no fire. You must learn to recognize this physical state not as a truth detector, but as a biological error code that needs to be acknowledged and then dismissed. First step to breaking this cycle is simply realizing that your feelings are not fact. Just because you feel terrified does not mean you are in danger. When the panic rises, do not engage with the story it tells you. Do not argue with the anxiety. Instead, look at it objectively, like a scientist observing a specimen. Label it. Say to yourself, this is just my ancient machinery malfunctioning. By naming the sensation, you create a gap between the stimulus and your response. In that small gap, you regain your ability to choose rather than just reacting like a frightened animal cornered in a trap. You convince yourself that if you can just organize every aspect of your life, map out every potential outcome, and micromanage the people around you, you will finally achieve peace. You build elaborate mental fortresses, creating strict schedules and rigid expectations, believing these walls will protect you from the chaos of the world. But this is a seductive illusion. The more you tighten your grip on reality, the more it slips through your fingers. This obsession with control is not strength. It is a symptom of deep-seated fear. You are trying to tame an ocean that refuses to be tamed, and the effort is slowly draining the life out of you. The harsh truth you must accept is that you have zero control over the vast majority of your existence. You cannot dictate the state of the economy. You cannot force others to love or respect you. And you absolutely cannot script the future. Every time you attach your happiness to an external outcome, you are handing the keys of your sanity to a stranger. You are setting yourself up for a lifetime of disappointment because the world owes you nothing. It operates on its own chaotic logic, indifferent to your plans. Trying to dominate these external forces is the most direct path to misery, leaving you broken at the bottom of a cliff you climbed willingly. The only way to find stability is through radical separation. You must mentally divide your entire world into two distinct columns: what is yours and what is not. In the first column, you have your actions, your judgments, and your character. That is it. Everything else, your reputation, your wealth, your health, the past, and the future, belongs in the second column. Your power exists solely in the first column. When you focus your energy there, you become invincible because nothing external can touch your will. When you focus on the second column, you become a slave to circumstance, begging for a freedom you already threw away. You wear your perfectionism like a badge of honor, telling yourself it means you care about quality. But let's be honest, it is a prison you built to keep yourself safe from judgment. You believe that if you can just produce a flawless outcome, no one can hurt you. But this perfection is a ghost. It does not exist in the real world. You are chasing a mirage in the desert, running yourself into the ground for a prize that is impossible to hold. This chase is not driven by a desire for excellence. It is driven by a crippling fear of being seen as a fraud. This need to be perfect paralyzes you before you even begin. You stare at the blank page or the unstarted project, terrified of making a mistake. You procrastinate, calling it preparation, but it is actually cowardice. You are so afraid of not being enough that you choose to be nothing at all. You hide your true potential behind a wall of hesitation, waiting for a moment of readiness that will never come. You are slowly suffocating your own creativity because you are terrified that the output won't match the fantasy in your head. You are rejecting your own work before the world even sees it. You must give yourself permission to be human, which means giving yourself permission to fail. The real work is not in doing things perfectly. It is in simply doing them. You must be willing to be a beginner, to look foolish, to stumble, and to get back up. True strength is not found in a gallery of flawless statues that never move. It is forged in the mud of the arena where you sweat, bleed, and fail. Stop worshiping the idol of perfection and start worshiping the habit of action. A messy success is infinitely better than a perfect nothing. Get your hands dirty and build something real. There is a relentless voice in your head that narrates every waking moment of your life. For the vast majority of people, that narrator is not a friend. It is a cruel tyrant. It judges you for every small mistake, amplifies every insecurity, and drains your energy before you even get out of bed. You have listened to this abuse for so long that you have forgotten it is just a voice. You think it is you. You identify with the critic, believing its harsh judgments are objective truths about your work. But this is a lie. It is nothing more than a learned habit, a repetitive loop of negativity that you have practiced for years until it became automatic. You must stop being a passive victim of your own mind and become the active architect of your inner world. This requires aggressive intervention. When you catch that inner voice being cruel, you must stop it in its tracks. Do not let it finish the sentence. Interrogate it. Ask, is this actually true, or is this just my old programming? You must correct it, not with positive affirmations or fluffy lies, but with cold, rational truth. Replace "I'm stupid" with "I'm learning a new skill." This is not about feeling good. It is about being accurate. You are rewriting the code of your operating system line by line. Treating yourself with respect is not a luxury. It is a mandatory requirement for mental discipline. You cannot lead a life of strength if your internal leader is abusive. Imagine a general who screams at his soldiers constantly. That army will eventually mutiny or collapse. That is exactly what your mind is doing. Self-respect is the foundation of all fortitude. It is the solid ground upon which you build a life of character. When you change the way you speak to yourself, you change the way you interact with the world. You move from a posture of apology to a posture of authority. This is the beginning of true freedom. Worrying often feels like productive work. You convince yourself that by replaying every possible disaster in your head, you are somehow preparing for them. But you are not preparing, you are merely suffering in advance. You are paying high interest payments on a debt that you may never actually owe. Anxiety is an addiction to a future that does not exist yet. Your mind projects detailed, catastrophic movies of failure and loss, forcing your body to live through the visceral emotion of each tragedy as if it were happening right now. You are exhausting your reserves fighting phantoms. This constant projection is a massive waste of your limited life force. Every moment you spend living in a hypothetical future is a moment stolen from the only reality you actually have. The antidote to this poison is radical presence. The only thing that is real is this exact second. The floor under your feet, the air filling your lungs, the sensation of your hands. When your mind starts to race like a runaway train, you must aggressively anchor it. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do right now? Stop looking at the entire mountain and just look at the step in front of you. Anxiety cannot survive in the face of direct action. It thrives on hesitation and stillness. The moment you move, the moment you take a concrete step, the fog of worry begins to evaporate. You cannot think your way out of a thinking problem. You must act your way out. If you are worried about a task, do the first minute of it. If you are worried about a conversation, write the first sentence. Momentum is the cure. Stop paralysis by analysis. Engage your hands and your body in the physical world, and watch how quickly the mental ghosts vanish into the daylight. Your mind is an expert liar, but your body is brutally honest. That chronic tension in your shoulders, the tight knot in your stomach that never goes away, and the heaviness you feel even after sleeping, these are not random inconveniences. They are desperate messages from a system under siege. We are taught to ignore these signals, to numb them, and to push through the pain. But emotions that are not processed do not disappear. They get buried alive in your muscle fibers and your nervous system, waiting for the moment they can finally scream. You are carrying a graveyard of unexpressed feelings in your own skin. Your anxiety is not just a thought, it is physically trapped in your shallow breathing. Your suppressed anger is stored in your clenched jaw and grinding teeth. Stop trying to solve a physical problem with more overthinking. You cannot think your way out of a feeling. You must listen to it. Ask your body, what are you holding for me? Sometimes the path to clarity is not through intellectual analysis, but through physically releasing the emotional debt you have been carrying in your flesh for decades. You have to feel it to heal it. You must learn to read your own biology. When you feel the contraction of fear, do not shrink. Force your physical vessel to take up space. Stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, and breathe deep into the bottom of your lungs. By changing your physiology, you hack your psychology. You cannot feel defeated while standing like a conqueror. Use your body as a tool to override the weakness of the mind. This is somatic discipline. It is the practice of grounding yourself in the physical world so you do not drown in the mental one. The modern world is an engine designed to keep you agitated. It is built on constant noise, fake urgency, and endless reaction. Every beep on your phone, every breaking news headline, is a demand for your soul. The system wants you to react without thinking, to be a puppet pulled by the strings of external events. It profits from your lack of focus. If you are constantly responding to stimuli, you are never creating, never thinking, and never truly living. You are just a reflex, bouncing off the walls of a cage someone else built. The ultimate act of power in a chaotic world is stillness. When you are provoked, your instinct is to snap back. When you are pressured, your instinct is to rush. You must defy this instinct. You must create a sacred space between the stimulus and your response. In that brief space lies your entire freedom. The person who can remain calm while everyone else is panicking is the person who is truly in charge. Do not just react like a machine. Observe like a master. Take a breath. Assess the board. Then, and only then, do you make your move. Do not mistake stillness for passivity. It is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right thing at the right time. It is the focused energy of a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike, rather than running around aimlessly. When you cultivate this inner silence, you become immovable. The storms of life may rage around you, people may scream, and markets may crash, but you remain the eye of the hurricane. You are no longer a leaf in the wind. You are the rock in the river. This is how you reclaim your sovereignty. The search is finally over. You have been running a marathon towards a finish line that doesn't exist, looking for peace in bank accounts, relationships, and future achievements. But the sanctuary is not out there. It never was. The entire journey has been a circle leading you back to the only place that matters, the fortress of your own mind. This is not a one-time victory. It is a war you fight every morning. It is the discipline of observing your thoughts without obeying them. It is finding the silence inside the storm. If you are ready to reclaim your authority, join us. Subscribe to the channel and let us walk this path together. The work begins now.